Ready for a deep dive into Revelation chapter 10.
Sounds good to me.
We're taking a fascinating approach today.
Yeah.
Using the MCS Revelation chapter 10 source, they offer a distinctly Jewish perspective.
Interesting. But what makes the source stand out?
Well, right off the bat, they highlight a crucial moment.
Okay.
It happens just before the final trumpet.
Mm.
They're talking about the claim on all creation for Yeshua.
It's not just an abstract concept either. The source paints such a vivid picture. Incredible imagery.
Speaking of dramatic visuals, can you unpack the description of the angel?
Sure.
Rainbows fire the sun. This angel isn't messing around.
No, not at all. Radiating divine authority.
Yeah.
Each detail is carefully chosen. For instance, the rainbow.
Uh-huh.
It harkens back to God's covenant with Noah after the flood.
Oh, wow.
A symbol deeply rooted in the Hebrew Bible.
So it's not just a pretty visual.
Right.
It's packed with meaning.
Exactly. And the shining face.
Mm.
That's reminiscent of Moses descending from Mount Sinai
Oh, interesting.
after encountering God. Direct link to a pivotal moment in Jewish history.
Wow. So this angel is clearly a powerful figure.
Yes.
But the source also clarifies something that might be confusing.
What's that?
Some people might see this angel and assume it's actually Yeshua himself.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
Is it?
The source makes a clear distinction between the angel's role
Okay.
and Yeshua's portrayal in the New Testament.
Gotcha.
The angel is acting as a representative here. Carrying out God's will adds another layer to the narrative.
Okay, so we've got this mighty angel acting on behalf of God,
Right.
descending from heaven with a little scroll.
Yes.
What happens next?
This is where it gets really interesting. Picture this. The angel plants one foot on the sea
Okay.
and the other on the land.
Wow.
Then lets out a shout as loud as a lion's roar.
Talk about a power move.
It is, isn't it?
It's like this cosmic declaration of ownership over all creation.
Precisely. The source interprets this as a symbolic claiming of creation for Yeshua.
Oh, interesting.
Think of it this way. The scroll is like a title deed,
Okay.
and the angel's stance is a powerful visual of planting a flag to signify ownership.
Oh, I like that. It's such a striking image.
It is.
And as if the visual wasn't dramatic enough,
Uh-huh.
there's thunder involved too,
That's an
right?
idea.
Yes. 7 thunders respond to the angel's shout.
Really?
In the Bible, thunder often represents the voice of God.
Right.
So it's like God himself is echoing and confirming this claim.
Okay, we've got this incredible visual of creation being claimed for Yeshua,
Yes.
thunderous confirmation from God.
Right.
Then John, the author of Revelation, he tries to write down the words of the 7 thunders.
And that's where we hit a wall of mystery.
What?
He's forbidden from writing them down.
Oh, wow.
The source connects this to the sealed prophecies
Okay.
in the book of Daniel.
Right.
It's a reminder that some knowledge is hidden for a reason,
Interesting.
concealed until the appointed time.
This sealed message is really intriguing.
It is. Makes you wonder, why keep it secret? What could be so important that those words are withheld? It feels like we're on the edge of something huge.
Absolutely. And that sense of anticipation,
Yeah.
it's only heightened by what happens next.
Well, don't leave us hanging. What comes after this mysterious silence?
The angel raises his right hand
Okay.
and swears a solemn oath.
Now, that's a gesture loaded with significance.
It is. Yeah.
Especially in a Jewish context, right?
You got it. The source emphasizes that in Jewish law, a legal oath often requires 2 witnesses. In this case, it's the angel and Yeshua himself,
Oh, wow.
acting as guarantors of the claim on creation.
So this oath carries a lot of weight.
It does.
It's a legally binding declaration.
Yes,
On a cosmic scale.
exactly. And the content of the oath,
Mm-hmm.
just as impactful. The angel declares, "There will be no more delay."
Wow.
This signals a critical turning point, a shift towards the climax of God's plan.
This declaration of no more delay,
Yeah,
it creates a sense of urgency, doesn't it?
it does.
We're moving towards the fulfillment of those ancient prophecies.
Yes. And the source specifically points out how this resonates with the Jewish understanding of Revelation,
Yeah.
particularly its connection to the redemption of the people of Israel.
So we've had this incredible visual spectacle,
We have.
a mysterious sealed message,
Right.
and now this binding oath declaring that time is running out.
Uh-huh.
What happens next? Does John get any more instructions?
He does. And it's a strange one. He's told to eat the little scroll.
Eat the scroll.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's not something you hear every day.
No.
That's a pretty wild image.
It is. But while it might seem strange at first,
Yeah.
the source points out that this act isn't entirely new in the Bible.
It's not.
We see echoes of this in the books of Jeremiah and Ezekiel,
Really?
where prophets are instructed to perform similar symbolic actions.
So there's a precedent for this kind of
Yes.
consuming God's message.
Yes.
But what's particularly interesting
Okay.
is that the scroll has a very specific taste.
It does.
It's described as sweet as honey in John's mouth,
Right.
but then it turns bitter in his stomach.
That duality of taste is key. The source offers a really compelling interpretation, suggesting that the sweetness
Yeah.
represents the joy of understanding God's plan, the anticipation of his ultimate victory. It's that sense of relief and hope that comes with seeing the bigger picture.
It's like that aha moment when a complex concept suddenly makes sense
Exactly.
and you see how everything fits together. It brings a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment.
Precisely. But then comes the bitterness,
Yeah.
reflecting the sorrow of knowing that judgment is coming. Even though we celebrate God's ultimate victory, we also recognize the difficult reality that there will be consequences for those who choose to reject him.
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
It's like that bittersweet feeling you get when you graduate from school. You're excited for the future,
Yeah.
but you're also sad to leave a chapter behind. Or maybe it's like watching your children grow up. You're proud of them, but you also miss those early days.
Those are excellent analogies.
It's a complex mix of emotions. And what's so powerful about this passage is that it invites us to personalize this experience. As you reflect on this passage,
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges or anxieties you face in today's world that might resonate with the bitterness John experienced?
That's a great question. It connects this ancient text to our personal experiences.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, Revelation isn't just about some far-off event. It's about our place in God's plan,
Right.
our choices, and the consequences that follow.
And it's about acknowledging that even in the midst of God's victory,
Yes.
there will be elements of sorrow and loss. It's a reality that's hard to swallow,
It is.
but it's a part of the story.
It definitely adds a layer of complexity.
Right.
But it also makes the story more real, more relatable.
So John has tasted both the sweetness and the bitterness of God's plan.
He has.
What's his next move? What's he supposed to do with this knowledge? And this source takes it a step further,
Okay.
challenging us to consider what makes our stomachs turn sour when we contemplate future events
Interesting.
or the state of the world.
It is interesting.
What are those things that bring a mix of hope and fear,
Mm.
excitement and anxiety?
It's a brilliant way to connect this ancient text to our own lives.
It is.
Because it's not just some abstract theological concept.
Right.
It's about our own personal struggles.
Yeah.
The things we wrestle with on a daily basis.
Right.
What are the things that give you hope? What are the things that worry you?
Yeah.
And how do those things connect to your understanding of God's plan?
That question really makes you pause and reflect, doesn't it?
It does.
What are those things that bring that bitter taste?
I think it speaks to the larger theme of ownership that we've been discussing.
Right.
If we truly believe that creation belongs to Yeshua, then that means we have a responsibility to care for it,
Okay.
to work towards justice and righteousness.
Right.
And when we see things going wrong in the world,
Yeah.
it's natural to feel a sense of sorrow, a bitterness for what's been damaged or lost.
It highlights the weight of that responsibility, doesn't it?
It does.
The seriousness of being stewards of this incredible gift.
Yeah,
It's not just a passive belief.
right.
It
Yeah.
calls us to action.
Exactly. It's a challenge, but it's also an incredible opportunity
Yeah.
because it means that we're not just passive observers in this story.
Yeah.
We're active participants.
Yeah.
And our choices matter.
Right.
And even though we don't have all the answers, and even though the future can seem uncertain at times, we can find comfort in knowing that God is in control and that his plan is ultimately for good.
So John has eaten the scroll,
Yes.
experienced both its sweetness and bitterness.
Right.
He's internalized God's message, understood its complexities.
Yeah.
What happens next?
He's given a mission
What's that?
to continue prophesying,
Okay.
to share this message with many peoples, nations, languages, and kings.
Wow. It's a massive task,
It is.
a global undertaking.
Yes.
And it's not just about sharing good news, is it?
No, it's not.
He's also delivering messages of judgment.
He is.
It's a role that carries a lot of weight, both hopeful and heavy.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And this source really emphasizes that duality. this bittersweet nature of prophecy.
Right.
It's about revealing God's plan, but it's also about acknowledging the difficult truths that come along with it.
It makes me think about the challenges and anxieties we talked about earlier.
Yes.
The things that bring that bitterness. Those challenges don't just disappear.
No, they don't.
They're part of the story.
That's right. But the prophecy also points towards a resolution.
Okay.
A culmination of God's plan.
Right.
It reminds us that even in the midst of judgment, there's hope.
And that brings us back to the relevance of this ancient prophecy for our modern world, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Revelation isn't just a historical document.
Right.
It's a living message that speaks to our hearts and challenges us to live in a way that reflects God's love and justice.
You know what's so compelling about Revelation is that it doesn't shy away from the difficult parts of the story.
No, it doesn't.
It acknowledges the darkness and brokenness.
Yes.
But it also offers a vision of hope and restoration.
It's a complex and multifaceted book.
It is.
And what's fascinating about this source, MCS Revelation chapter 10, is how it doesn't shy away from the Jewish roots of this text.
Right.
It reminds us that Revelation is deeply connected to the Hebrew Bible. And understanding those connections can enrich our understanding of the book as a whole.
It's like they're adding another dimension to the painting, right?
Yes.
Revealing depths and textures we might have missed otherwise.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about these deep dives. They encourage us to look at familiar things with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
To ask new questions.
Right.
And to continue learning and growing.
And it reminds us that even a text as ancient as Revelation can speak to the challenges and opportunities we face in our modern world.
So as we move toward the final part of our exploration of Revelation chapter 10, I'm curious to know.
Yeah.
What has resonated with you most so far? What are you still pondering? What stands out to you? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Back again for the final part of our deep dive into Revelation chapter 10.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has.
Vivid angelic appearances to the taste of prophecy.
I know. Not your typical book club discussion.
It certainly isn't.
But as we wrap up, I think it's worth circling back to a point we made earlier.
Okay.
About how this ancient prophecy is still relevant in our modern world.
It is.
It's easy to dismiss these ancient texts as well, ancient.
It is.
But this deep dive has shown me how these messages can resonate across centuries.
Exactly. And one of the most striking takeaways from Revelation chapter 10, particularly through this Jewish perspective we've been exploring, is this emphasis on ownership. The idea that creation ultimately belongs to Yeshua.
It is a powerful concept.
Isn't it? And not just in a theological sense,
right,
but in how it shapes our understanding of our place in the world.
Absolutely. If we truly believe that creation belongs to Yeshua, it changes everything. How we view the world,
right,
how we interact with nature, how we treat each other,
yes,
how we approach all these challenges facing our society.
It's a call to action.
Yeah.
A reminder that we're not just passive bystanders.
We're not.
We're entrusted with this incredible gift.
It is incredible.
And with that comes a responsibility, right?
To care for it.
That responsibility, much like that scroll, John 8, comes with both joy and sorrow, doesn't it?
It does.
There's that sweetness of knowing we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
Participating in God's plan for redemption.
It's that sense of purpose, of belonging that can be so uplifting.
Right.
But then there's the bitterness.
There is. The bitterness of recognizing all the brokenness in our world. The pain and suffering that exists.
Right.
It's a stark reminder of the consequences of sin.
It is.
The ongoing struggle between good and evil.
That tension between hope and despair.
Yeah.
Between the beauty of God's creation and the reality of its brokenness.
It's something we grapple with even today, isn't it?
It is.
So how do we navigate that tension? How do we hold on to hope while acknowledging all the difficult realities of our world?
Well, it starts with remembering that we're not alone. We have a God who loves us unconditionally, who walks with us through every high and low.
Right.
We have each other.
Yeah.
A community of believers who can offer support, encouragement, and accountability.
Right. That sense of community, of shared purpose, can make all the difference.
It can.
It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, we're not fighting this battle alone.
And we have Revelation itself, a book that offers a glimpse into the future.
Yeah.
A vision of hope and restoration that reminds us God's plan will ultimately prevail.
It is a powerful reminder that even in the midst of darkness, light will ultimately triumph.
Yes.
That good will overcome evil.
Yes.
And that creation, as this source so beautifully points out, will be fully redeemed under Yeshua's reign.
So, as we conclude our deep dive into Revelation chapter 10, I want to leave you with this question.
Okay.
How does this concept of ownership, of creation belonging to Yeshua, reshape your view of your own place in the world?
Does it ignite a sense of responsibility in you, inspire a deeper appreciation of the world around us?
Or maybe even a sense of peace, knowing that we're part of something so much greater than ourselves?
Take some time to reflect on that.
I like that.
And if you're interested in exploring this chapter further, we highly recommend checking out the MCS Revelation Chapter 10 website.
They've got some fantastic resources there.
They do.
They can help you delve deeper into the text and its relevance for your life.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been an incredible exploration.
It is.
And we hope it sparked your curiosity to continue learning and growing in your faith.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep seeking truth, keep asking questions, and keep exploring this rich tapestry of Scripture.